Before you change the world, pick up a mirror. That's where the revolution begins. See, we live in a time where it's easy to point fingers, easy to blame your job, your parents, your childhood, the government, your ex, your boss, your friends. Social media made it a sport. Everybody's got a hot take on what's wrong with the world, but nobody wants to talk about what's wrong inside their own heart. It's funny, you can have a closet full of designer clothes and still be spiritually naked. You can have a phone full of contacts and still feel completely alone. You can post inspiration all day long, but live in quiet desperation when the screen turns black. I've been there. I know what it's like to play a role for the public and then come home and feel hollow. There was a time in my life when everything looked right from the outside. Career climbing, people clapping, lights flashing. But inside, I was drifting. I was wearing a mask I didn't even realize I'd put on. And every morning, I'd walk by that mirror and not even stop to really look. Because deep down, I was afraid of what I'd see. See, the mirror don't lie. The mirror doesn't care about your excuses. It doesn't care how much money you make or how many followers you got. It doesn't care about your resume, your degrees, or your charm. It only reflects truth, and that truth, that's where transformation begins. You can't fix what you don't face, and you can't face what you keep hiding. That's why the mirror is the most important place you'll ever stand, because when you really look, when you get brutally honest, you realize something: you are both the problem and the solution. That's a hard pill to swallow. But it's also the most liberating truth you'll ever learn. Because once you accept responsibility, once you stop outsourcing your peace and start owning your path, everything changes. You stop waiting for someone else to rescue you. You stop waiting for permission. You stop pointing outward and start working inward. That's when the healing starts. That's when the growth begins. It's not about guilt. It's about ownership. You're not a victim of your story. You're the author. And the next chapter, it doesn't have to look like the last one, but that rewrite starts with one decision: to look in the mirror, to tell the truth, to do the work, to fix what's broken. Not so the world can applaud you, but so you can live in alignment with who you were always meant to be. Because at the end of the day, if you can't lead yourself, you have no business trying to lead anybody else. The loudest battles are the ones no one sees. They don't happen on stages or in boardrooms. They happen in silence, in bedrooms, in prayer closets, in late night drives when the world's asleep and your thoughts are screaming at full volume. These are the battles you fight with your past, with your pain, with the parts of yourself you don't let anybody else see. People will look at you and say you're strong. They'll say you've got it all together. But they don't see the moments where you're curled up in your car, fists clenched on the steering wheel, whispering to God, "I don't know how much longer I can keep this up." That's the war within. It's not always dramatic. Sometimes it's subtle. It's the quiet temptation to give up, to shrink, to settle. It's the voice that tells you you're not enough, even when you've accomplished everything you were told would make you feel whole. It's the part of you that sabotages your own peace because deep down, you don't think you deserve it. I've faced that voice. We all have. It shows up different for each of us. For some, it's addiction. For others, it's anxiety, shame, or anger that flares up out of nowhere. It's that old trauma knocking on the door every time you try to build something new. You might be dressed in confidence, but your spirit is dragging a weight that nobody can see. And yet, there is something powerful in the decision to keep showing up. Not perfectly, not loudly, just honestly, just choosing day after day to look your pain in the eye and say, "You don't own me." Because that's what the war within really is. It's not about pretending to be fearless. It's about being scared out of your mind and moving forward anyway. It's about confronting the lies you've believed for years and daring to rewrite them, even when you're trembling while you do it. The real strength isn't in pretending the battle doesn't exist. It's in fighting anyway, quietly, consistently, with courage that nobody claps for. Courage that doesn't post well on social media. Courage that says, "This might break me, but I'm not backing down." I've learned that the most dangerous enemy is the one living inside. But I've also learned that once you face that enemy, once you stop running and start engaging, you unlock a level of peace and power that no one can take from you. You begin to win, not because life got easier, but because you got stronger, because you finally realized that the war within wasn't there to destroy you, it was there to reveal you. Discipline is choosing what you want most over what you want now. Everybody wants the reward, but not everybody wants the routine. Everybody wants results, but not everybody wants to respect the process. See, motivation gets you started, but it's discipline that keeps you going when the motivation dries up. And trust me, it will dry up. There's a lie we've been sold, that greatness is about passion, that if you just feel it enough, you'll make it. But real success, real transformation, it doesn't come from feelings. It comes from the days you don't feel anything at all and still do the work. It comes from early mornings when the bed is warm and your purpose is calling louder than your comfort. It comes from those moments when no one is watching, no one is clapping, and you still show up like the whole world's depending on it. Because it is, you are. Discipline is not sexy, it's not always inspiring. It looks like saying no to things that feel good now, so you can say yes to the life you actually want. It's putting down the phone and picking up the book. It's turning off the TV and turning inward. It's walking away from people who distract you from your growth, even if they've been with you for years. It's that lonely walk to the gym when everyone else is sleeping. It's choosing water over liquor when your pain is calling for numbness. It's silence over noise, patience over impulse, focus over fun, and no, it's not perfect. Discipline doesn't mean you never fall off. It means when you do, you get back up, faster, wiser, stronger. You don't live in the failure. You learn from it. You don't let the setback define you. You let it refine you. I remember a time when I was chasing goals but sabotaging myself every step of the way. I'd talk about legacy, but my habits screamed comfort. I wanted purpose, but I wasn't willing to pay the price for it. And that's the truth. Discipline is the price. It's the toll you pay daily on the road to anything meaningful. You want to fix yourself? Start by fixing your routines. Your life is built in the small, consistent choices no one sees. What you do when no one's clapping is what determines whether anyone claps at all later. And when your discipline catches up to your dreams, that's when everything shifts. Discipline isn't punishment, it's freedom. It's the key that unlocks your future. And once you develop it, once you live by it, it changes not just your habits, but your identity. When you rise, others rise with you. There's this idea people carry that fixing yourself is selfish, that focusing on your growth means you're turning your back on the world. But let me tell you something, nothing could be further from the truth. Fixing yourself is one of the most generous things you can do, because when you heal, you break chains. When you grow, you give permission, silent, powerful permission, for others to do the same. You ever see someone walk in a room, not loud, not flashy, but grounded? You feel it, that peace, that quiet confidence, that strength that doesn't need to prove itself. That's the kind of presence that comes from someone who did the inner work, someone who fought the invisible battles and came out the other side not bitter, but better. That's the kind of presence that lifts the atmosphere without even trying. And here's the truth. Your healing has ripple effects. Your discipline, your integrity, your kindness. It affects your children, your spouse, your friends, your team. You shift rooms just by being whole in a world that's fractured. See, we think we're isolated. We think our struggles and our growth don't impact anyone else. But every time you choose growth over comfort, every time you set a boundary, every time you choose patience when you used to explode, you're teaching, not with your words, but with your life. You're modeling what's possible. You're saying, yes, you can come from dysfunction and still walk in purpose. You're saying, yes, you can have trauma and still choose love. You're saying, yes, you can fall 100 times and still get up again. That's what fixing yourself does. It creates possibility where there was once only pain, and the crazy part, sometimes the people you'll never meet are the ones who benefit the most. The kid who watches how you carry yourself. The coworker who sees you move with integrity when no one else does. The sibling who watches you forgive where they expected revenge. You become a silent leader, a walking example, a light in places you didn't even realize needed it. You don't have to be a preacher to change lives. You don't need a platform. All you need is to do your work, honestly, consistently. Because that work creates waves, and those waves touch more shores than you'll ever know. Fixing yourself isn't about becoming better than others. It's about becoming better for them. It's about being the kind of person that elevates the people around you just by being you, healed, whole, and walking in truth. Success is nothing if your soul's in pieces. You can stack the money, earn the titles, get the applause. But if you've lost yourself in the process, what did you really gain? Legacy isn't built on trophies. It's built on character, on impact, on how people feel when your name comes up long after you're gone. We're in a world obsessed with image, filters, followers of followers. But let me tell you, when the lights go off and the crowd goes home, and it's just you and your thoughts, that's the truth right there. That's when the question hits you, did I live in a way that mattered? Did I just perform, or did I become someone who left something deeper than a highlight reel? I've seen people who had it all on paper, money, status, fame, and yet they were empty inside. Achievements with no peace, applause with no fulfillment. Their name was big, but their foundation was cracked, because they never did the inner work, never took time to fix what was broken, never healed the parts of themselves that success couldn't touch. But I've also seen the opposite, people who came from nothing, people who walked through hell and still chose to walk in love, people who never needed to be the loudest in the room because their life already spoke volumes. That's legacy, that's power, that's what fixing yourself gives you. The strength to live in alignment, to lead with purpose, to love without limits. Your legacy isn't just about what you do, it's about who you become. The example you set, the courage you show when nobody's watching, the way you treat people who can't do anything for you. That's what lives on. That's what people remember. One day, your name will be spoken by someone who never met you. A child, a student, a stranger. And the question is, what will your name mean? Will it mean resilience, integrity, grace under pressure? Or will it mean someone who had potential but never showed up for their own life? Fixing yourself is the groundwork for that legacy. It's the act of choosing long-term impact over short-term image. It's the decision to live a life that doesn't just make noise, but leaves a mark. The kind of mark that ripples through generations, long after you're gone. Because in the end, it's not about being remembered by everyone. It's about being remembered by the right ones, for the right reasons. And that starts with the work you do on yourself, right here, right now. So now you've heard it, all of it. The mirror, the war within, the discipline, the ripple effect, and the legacy. But this ain't just a speech. This is a call to wake up, a call to stop running from the work and start running toward it. You want a better life, you want peace, you want purpose, then fix yourself, not tomorrow, not when it's convenient, now, because nobody's coming to save you, no applause is gonna heal you, no job, no partner, no title is gonna fill the gap only you can fill. That's your responsibility, that's your privilege. Start small, start slow, start scared, but start, and don't you dare stop, because your future is waiting on the other side of your healing. Your family's watching. Your kids are watching. Somebody you don't even know is watching, waiting for you to step into who you were always meant to be, so they believe they can too. And when you rise, you give the world permission to rise with you. So pick up that mirror, face that battle, master your discipline, let your growth ripple, and leave a legacy that whispers long after you're gone. I fixed myself, and in doing that, I changed everything.